Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to 1 Million Cups. 1 Million Cups Prince William is about education. It's about education and helping others within the community grow. Okay, what we do here is we have a presenter. The presenters come from local entrepreneurs, local civic leaders, and people in the community that just want to learn about business, that are considering starting their own business and want to know how to get it started. So it's about education and it's about learning. And we're going to turn it over to George, who is a civic leader from Prince William County. And he's going to help us figure out some of the things about the county that we may not be aware of. Welcome, George.
Thanks.
And let's give George a round of applause.
You may want to wait till after. This is not your typical presentation. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what we do, resources for small businesses, show you something that you may not be aware of on our website, and then perhaps the question is how do I get more companies to use it. But first and most importantly, nothing bores me more than some person yapping from a PowerPoint for whatever length of time. If you have a question, ask it. It's not going to bother me any. I'd rather have a question asked while you're thinking about it than you just forget what it is. One more thing about Million Cups of Coffee. I started in economic development in 1985. It means I've been at this for 29 years. In the chamber where I started in Fort Worth, we had a group called Executive Dialogue. And what that group did was brought business people of different disciplines, mainly small and medium-sized businesses, once a month, and each one could bring up a question, like what's really hassling them or what's really bothering them. Because sometimes business owners don't have other business owners to talk to. And one example was, I can't make money. And right off the bat, 3 of them said, then double your prices. But my customers will leave. No, they won't. You're not charging enough. Double your prices. Like that. He did that, and the next month he was doing very well. This is that same thing, same concept. And if you don't take advantage to it, shame on you. You're never going to get a group of people here that A, want to hear what you got to say, and B, can offer some perspective on what you're doing. So I would suggest all of you sign up for this at some point. Small business, we're going to go through this really fast. This is something I put together for somebody else. What I've noticed in the small business community and medium-sized businesses, there is so much clutter out there, you don't really know what's out there to help you. This is us. What I'm going to be focused on, what's in red, a comprehensive database of commercial commercial space, a complete and searchable demographic database, that's going to be the key one, and a guide to establishing a business in the county, which all the other resources that go with that. Those are just things just some things that we do in economic development for you. Next one. Prince William County, the procurement office has been very outgoing in trying to sign companies up to register with the companies to do business, to register companies to do business with the county. The way we view it, please do not take this wrong. If you're not registered with the county, you do not exist. You have to register. We will not go out and look for you. It's incumbent on you to go register with us. Planning, we just did our first showcase, Potomac Shores. It's a showpiece that's on our website that shows the value and investment of investing in the Potomac Shores. It can be locating there or it can be purchasing something there, purchasing the facility renting. Yes?
When you say register, how does that registering with the county differ from registering with the State Corporation Commission at Richmond?
They're all different.
Passes.
Yeah.
Everybody
needs their piece.
Yeah, it's passes.
Well, in our case, it's not a piece issue. You've already registered through a different way to be the B poll, yeah. But when you take it from the procurement standpoint, all right, there are 1,000 companies that are registered. Something comes up like we need to buy pencils, all right? They're going to go to that list and see who supplies pencils. That's their way. It's a qualifying for them. It's a qualifier for them to know, A, you're interested, and B, you sort of understand what you're doing because you took the time to register. That's the reason for that. There's nothing sinister. It's not a way to get more taxes or anything else. It's just a way so they have a place to go. But again, remember, they're not going to seek you out. There's just not enough of them to do with all the contracts that they've got to contend with.
So if a business is registered in Fairfax County, but they do business in Prince William County, should they register?
Absolutely. You ought to register with every county in the region, every one of them, because we don't know what Fairfax is doing. It's not incumbent on us to know that they're doing a website or something like that. We just don't have the ability to track all that. Yes, you should register with every one of them, which brings up a second point. It's not on here now, but if you want, give me your business card, write on it, registration, and I will send you a 17-page document that shows how you can register with counties all across the region and in states and other things like that. Because you know what? It took me half a day to do that. It'd take you probably 2 days to do that. Not that I'm smarter, I've just been in this a lot longer and know where to go. Why should you have to go recreate that when I can do it for you like that? Next slide. Mason Enterprise Center. Well, that's what's at the top, 1 million cups of coffee. And the fact that I had the SCORE staff. Okay, next one you all know about 1 million cups of coffee. The Florey Center. We contract with the Florey Center to provide business assistance in this respect. They do counseling, they do SBA assistance, and they do business plans, they do stuff like that. So they're there like an entrepreneurial group in addition to the MEC. So when you're trying to start a business, they offer a class on a Saturday. They take you through the whole thing. They'll help you do that. They help you with counseling. It's our contractual service to help start up businesses. Next. The Chamber. Chamber is really good in this respect. And having started my life in the Chamber, that's one reason I'm a big proponent of them. This is the only organization where the most number of businesses are affiliated for business purposes. It can be lobbying, it can be promotion. Those are some of the promotions they have out there for y'all to take advantage of if you're a member. Governor Condé, if you're a governor contractor, innovations, connections, all these things designed to help you further your business along. The Small Business Committee works like the executive dialogue. The businesses come in, all the small businesses, it's open to anybody that's a small business. You come in, it's held twice a month, and there is a subject matter that's brought up. Last week was social media. How do you use it? Next one. Skill Source Center. You're looking for a job, you're looking for skilled workers, that's where you go. So if you're trying to hire somebody that has a specific skill that you're looking for, you want to start there. The main office is in Woodbridge, Woodbridge. Next. This is new. It's a private sector business incubator located in Woodbridge. It's called the Northern Virginia Business Center. They've done a number of seminars, and they've also done a Meet the Legislators type thing. It's brand new. It's got an interesting concept to it. We don't have anything like that per se in this area that's private sector.
Where is it located, and how did it differ from the MEC that was in Woodbridge, the Mason Enterprise Center?
Private sector.
Oh, really?
It's privately run.
Okay.
Okay, that's the biggest difference of all. I'll have to look up the address. Next. Virginia Community Capital. I ordinarily do not promote one type of bank over another, but this one's unique. This is the old community development. They do community development type financing, and what they're interested in are, much to my surprise and much to my delight, contractors, government contractors, things like that. But their number one goal, well, of course you have to have a good business plan. It's got to make sense. But also, they want to know the number of jobs. They're interested in job creation. So that to them is one of their drivers. And I think that's the end of this. Okay, any questions?
Can we get a copy of that?
You got it right there.
Yeah, I can
I
email.
can't write all that down.
I didn't, and I never expected you to. Okay, yes.
When you go to the procurement,
Sure.
Is there any weight added to a Prince William County-based business versus a Fairfax County?
We are not Maryland. Maryland does that. If you're a Maryland-based business, you get like some type of consideration for that. We do not do that, and here's why. State law says for most commodities, we have to pick the lowest cost. We don't get to pick any of that. That's done by the state law. So if you're interested in changing that, you may want to go to the chamber and have them start lobbying to change that law, because there is absolutely nothing at the local level we can do about that.
Dillon Rule State.
Thank you. Yes.
George, I want to go back to the registration process
Absolutely.
for a second. You mentioned that it's a 17-page document. It takes half day to 2 hours.
No. I put together a compilation of all the registrations in the county, different counties that you can go to. So if you want to do business in Fairfax or Arlington or register with them, it's all right there, the school districts, everything.
So how extensive is the registration process?
I've never done any of those, never had any reason to do it, so I can't tell you.
But you don't have to be registered with the county to do business.
Absolutely not.
I'm just
Well,
saying, when you go through the county
Okay.
registration process,
Right.
if you
how
want,
extensive is that, and what kind of screening or filtering do you do with that?
I have no idea, it varies from county to county. Your question was, you don't have, no, you don't, but if you want to be notified of things,
Right.
you better.
Right.
Okay.
It behooves you.
Yeah, because if they're doing, we want to run ads about something, and there's four companies that run ads, or 4 outlets for that, and you're not on there, they may not contact you. Because again, it's not meant to be harsh, it's meant so people realize this. You're not registered, you don't exist, they probably will not seek you out.
And I assume because your job is to promote Prince William County to larger businesses or attract businesses, you can take that information from people who registered and use that information when you're out promoting what already exists in the county?
No,
No?
we don't, no, it's not. The type of information we have access to in that respect is minimal. I mean, I can tell you, you can find out who's registered is about the extent of it. Okay, I can't go in there and tell you much more than that.
But
Because
you can say, we've got biotech, or we have data centers, or, I mean, you don't,
that's a different issue. Those type of companies probably will not be registered because there's nothing they want to do business with the county for.
okay.
Okay. When I'm saying, like, you want to sell paper or pencils or do a website upgrade, or you're something about law enforcement, something in that respect, and they're looking for vendors.
I understand.
Yeah. No, that's my mistake. I didn't say that clearly.
So they're looking, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't understand.
Yeah.
that. Okay.
The registration on the other end, the other type of registration is called B-Poll. So if you're a service industry, you're supposed to register with the county, because there is, if you make, I think it is, if your revenues are over 250,000, I'm not sure what it is now, you don't pay one, but you still have to register. We have, the number's either 8 or 12,000 businesses registered with this county, and none of them are manufacturers, because manufacturers do not have to register. That's a different registration, and that's the hard part of starting a small business in. Well, isn't the one registration work across all? No, not by any stretch of the imagination. You wish it would, but it won't.
When they put a plug into the chamber was one of their successes is to bump it from $100,000 to $250,000.
That's right. Yeah.
Because there's so many businesses. If you make a $250,000 and below, you pay no vehicle.
Yeah.
You pay property tax.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we bumped it up over the 100 to 250.
In Stafford County, you get away with the vehicle tax. Not everyone has vehicle.
The flaw in the B-poll is that it's based on revenue, not profit. So you can be generating lots of revenue and your expenses can exceed it.
Which-
It's a good business model.
That's, by the same token, if it was based on profit and they needed to keep the same money, the same amount of money, then you're going to see people that are making profits here, their bill is going to skyrocket. So it's a trade-off as usual. I brought this up to show you all just one thing. Go to Tools if you would. Over to the right by my folder, right there. Now go up to Find by Location. Okay, now punch this in. This is Mr. Demoda, according to his website. I don't know about y'all, but it's really hot in here to me. 10946 Thistlewood Court. Yeah. WOD, yeah, Court, Manassas, Virginia. Okay, click on Find. Now, if you go to the screen, you can pull it, yeah. Now go to where it says, up to the top where it says View Business, Labor, do that one, do Labor Report.
Labor force?
Yeah, do that one, that's good. Okay, now scroll down some. It's going to generate a report for Jim that tells him within a radius of 1 mile, this is his labor force. Now, Jim may say, nobody uses radiuses. So go over to the right at the top where you see radius, go over to the other side and it says drive time, and put in a number. Put in 10 minutes. Put in 10. So now Jim knows, within a 10-minute drive time, by and large, that's the labor force within 10-minute drive of his facility. I show you this because most people does not know that it exists. It is designed to make your life easier. If you're going for a loan, if you're trying to do anything to demographic understand, you're opening a business in a certain area, I want to know about what my area is. There it is. You can do radius or you can do drive times. Take your pick. We pay for that. You don't pay, well, y'all pay for it, but you don't pay anything to use it. No.
There's a people we talk about.
Now, if you scroll up a little bit, I'm not going to take you through all of them, but you can see you can do demographics, consumer spending, wages, businesses, all sorts of things that are on there. I invite you to go play on it. I invite you to have a little fun with it. You may find out things about your area you did not realize. You may find out information that you didn't know that you'd like to use. And in that sense, it's designed as a demographic tool that centers on where you are or where you want to be, not where I'm telling you should be. You make the choice.
And that's critical for retail or like gym, people
Absolutely.
So, a lot of businesses need to do a business plan.
Sure.
And part of that business plan is going to be a marketing plan.
Yes.
And probably one of the most important parts of that marketing plan is the market research.
Right.
What kind of tools do you have here that really,
That's it.
okay?
So you can do a market plan, you can do a market assessment in any one of those categories by any radius or any drive time you choose to do.
Okay, so is there industry in there? I didn't know.
There is one at the end called business. Now, it's not going to tell you who the businesses are. It will tell you what the businesses do. So if you want to know,
So that's what you click on right there. Can you scroll down a little bit?
Yeah.
That's what.
That's it, yeah.
What that's at.
And when you say drive time, you're doing it by miles, not by time. You're,
no, I mean, however it takes to go 10 minutes, that's what the algorithm does.
There was a miles
Yeah.
thing on there.
yeah, but not calculated by real traffic there.
As best the system can do. All right.
So, okay, so if I'm thinking about starting a business,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make widgets, and I'm gonna make them out of my basement at home.
Uh-huh.
And I plug my home address, or my office address, whatever, into this super machine, and it's going to tell me within however many mile radius of the types of businesses that are around me,
Or drive time. Yes, it will do that, yes.
and the skilled labor force that would be able
Yes.
to help me out,
Yes.
And
Okay.
the incomes and,
incomes
you know,
and
averaged out numbers.
competition.
All that, yeah.
And having done this the hard way in past business, this is it's expensive to find,
It's extremely expensive.
so this is a good tool.
And
Have
it's,
you used this tool?
I'm gonna.
I don't, again,
I was just wondering, has anybody used this?
I bet you probably no one knew it was
I
here.
paid
Have you-
for this information before. There's other sources
Yeah.
that cost thousands of dollars for.
That's one of the challenges that we have that we'll get to in just a second. Now, if you would, go back to our main website and go to resources. It's the towards the right. And click on that again. Click on this one. That's the guide on how to do business in Prince William County. Now, it's a little misleading. That's 160 pages in all honesty. So scroll down a little bit and let's take a look at the table of contents. Talks about registration, all the 4 license permits. It goes on and on with that. Most of you don't need this stuff. Keep going. We have down there, okay, wait, slow down. Business taxes, keep going. Virginia stuff's in there too. Keep going. Okay, wait. Financing, the Prince William County Industrial Development Authority, nonprofit capital sources, things like that. Services that are out there to help you through government or whatever else. Keep going. IDB's explanation on that. Federal programs. Keep going. It's, who's out there to help you with this. It is a guide. It does tell you how to establish a business, but it also gives you resources if you're an existing business and things that you might need. Universities that are out there. Keep going. Trade, if you get into that. Keep going. Keep scrolling. Flory Center's on there, Mason Enterprise Center's on there. Keep going.
George, let me stop you 1 second.
You feel free to.
Make a point that people need to be aware of.
Hmm?
Working on the inside with Mason Enterprise Center, a lot of people don't realize when you're going to the bank to get a loan, especially if you're a startup, if you work with the Flory Center or the Mason Enterprise Center, and they know that they're working with you side by side to help you to cultivate that business plan, the banks, consider that
Yes.
a big point. I'm not going to say
Yes.
it's going to make you approve. There's other variables, but it's important for them to see that. So it's a huge advantage, especially if you're a startup.
Well, the Flory Center has, they have connections, different
Different.
connections to banks, to bankers than most, correct?
Yes. And they work hand in hand.
Yes.
The Mason Enterprise Center and Flory Center cross over just a little bit. They really refer each other back and forth at what they're looking for.
It's one of those demographic things, because the Flory Center and Mason Enterprise Center, they get grants from, the nonprofit public sector, but they also get grants from the government that help them flourish. So it's a way for the politicians that endorse that to get credit and track the value of that support, because everybody wants small businesses to succeed. Everybody's also aware of those statistics that say, 3 of 5 small businesses fail within 3 years. So it's one of those things that whatever the government can do that can delay that or help promote success is going to be, a feather in their cap. And you've got to have some way to track it.
Yes. Keep going down. Organizations for small business, procurement, there you go. That's the vendor registration for just some of the places we talked about: Fairfax, Montgomery County, Prince George's County, Maryland, all the ones in our area. And the one I have is even longer than that because I put even more places on there. And if you want, I'll have my cards out when I'm done. You want that, let me know and I'll send it to you. It's already done. You might as well use it if you want to. I'm a big believer in registering. Understand something, once you register, it's up to you to keep that data current. Several businesses complain that they don't get anything back from procurement about an outstanding opportunity. The reason is the email address in there is incorrect. And again, we will not seek you out. It's up to you to keep that up to date. Yes?
The book, or once a year I get notified to fill out, this kind of directory. I don't remember what it is, but you fill out your basic corporate information. Is that separate than this registration?
Who's it from?
It's from the county.
Okay.
It has your face on it.
I only asked it for one reason.
Yeah, it's something with,
Yeah.
they even publish it. It has like the largest businesses and
Okay, I don't know where that comes from because we don't do largest businesses. What we do, and what we're trying to get to the point to get it to where it's a little bit better is we do survey businesses. We do have yours. This is from the Department of Economic Development. The purpose of doing that doing that survey is so, number one, we know how our businesses are doing, but more importantly, when we get to the point and we're having challenges with this, is be able to put up a searchable database that people can go in and look for businesses of a certain type themselves on our website. It does not get you registration anyplace else. It's a database that we're using, trying to help you get business. It is separate from this. That is correct. Yes.
But that's also, on the selling side, what coins, if you have outside sales reps and you're looking and you're trying to find businesses, there's a lot of businesses that you never know. There are little,
Yep.
warehouse buildings in the back of nowhere that you can't find driving around. But all of a sudden you look at their demographics, they have 75 employees, a couple million plus in revenue. Well, that's someone I need to put on my hit list.
They do no promotion. They, their whole idea of promotion is a website, which means you have to find them, and that makes it really challenging because we're trying to help. It's our goal in part with this directory, our directory, the ED directory, is to build a two-way street so people can find things that want what they want. We do not turn anybody down that wants to be in it. If you want to be in it, that's fine by us. As a county, that's the service we should offer, and quite frankly, George Harbin is in no position to decide who does and who does not get in. We've got Walmart's in the one we have now. Why is that? They asked to be in it. I'll let them in it. Just one other thing out there. Now, Jim, when I talked to Jim about this before I came in, he said, "What's your challenge question?" I don't really have one. I was, when I talked to Jerry earlier, this was an informational piece for y'all. All right, that's what I was looking at. However, the challenge question would be this: how do you get more people to use this? It's pretty obvious to me not a single one of you know that any of this stuff exists. Okay? How do I cut through the clutter to do it?
Well, how are you putting yourself out there now? What events or what type of marketing does your Office of Economic Development do currently?
We do not do much in that sense to the local businesses. We go to events, we do booths where it's appropriate. What you'll find over there is a 2-page sheet on what I do, and the other one is how to sign up for our newsletter, which we hope would get that to it. But again, that's one where people have to opt in for this. We can't push that out on people. The only other way I do this is through my own Twitter feed.
I get your newsletter,
Yep.
but I don't remember. I see some demographics.
But you
pie
don't.
chart, but it doesn't say
We-
you can find your own demographic.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yes.
How is this different than the Prince William County website? Because it's Econ Development. Do you have an obvious link on the county site? Because I know I've gone to the county site and looking for, helping out in small businesses,
Sure.
startups and stuff, and get, a chance to sign up for a home-based business,
Right.
things like that. But I don't think I've ever seen that, and certainly not the demographics page.
It is there, and you did not see the demographics page, I'm sure, because it's buried in there with our sites and buildings part. If you go to the county website, what you'll find is, I don't even know what the county website is. Thank you. And that's hence the problem of using bookmarks.
I'm sorry.
Which I think is an extremely unusual name.
Extremely unusual web name.
Yeah, I mean,
Too, I don't understand.
Prince William County.
it should be pwc.gov because we're government. It says org on there at the end, which I think is misleading. Go to doing business.
I see, I think that's the, PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I think it is.
That's why they didn't do it.
Click on that and go to economic development over here. That should take you straight to, you're leaving, yeah,
So
that's how you get to our page.
Oh my God, warning.
Yeah, that's ours. We are going to redo this website, enhance it considerably. We're in the process of writing the RFP right now for that. It will be a massive change when we get this done.
Well, I would go back to your challenge question. I would say, one, the first page behind all those indexes of all the page numbers should be 3 or 4 huge bullet points. If you're looking to do this, you're looking to do this, you're looking to do this, starting a business, if you need demographics, here's a website that will find it. If you're looking to do so when everyone pulls out this, how do you start a business in Prince William County? It's not buried in page 782. It's right there in front that you have some major resources to help these companies. And, that's where people stop, page 10. Like,
Absolutely.
Do that another time.
Absolutely.
Second, I would say you need to go to the Flory Center and you need to go to the Mason Enterprise Center and all these entrepreneur places and have a 2-page flyer, the same kind of thing, and let them distribute it. Because when all these SCORE people come in, when we have people here, we could have things on here, start passing the word, and then take a couple $1,000 and do a sponsorship in the chamber. And there's 2,000 businesses there.
I agree. I think in the city of Manassas, they have something called HMI, Historic Manassas.
Yes.
Prince William County has this thing going on. It's, live, work, and play.
Right.
Right? Which I think is kind of marketed by Discover Prince William or something like that.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. That,
That's part of the challenge, all this different stuff.
I
Yes.
think part of
Yes.
the issue is you've got an organization that's promoting living, working, and playing. The middle part of that is work. That is all about economic development. That right there should be a harnessing point for that organization's or the county's effort towards marketing that work piece. Because, the reason I live in the area that I live in is it's within the proximity to Prince William County. There's a lot of places I could have chosen.
Absolutely.
And it's, Manassas is in the heart of the county, which gives us access to all of that stuff. And it is about that in economic development. And if you don't harness that, if we don't harness that as our vision, our mission of the business writ large, then it's hard to be able to convey that to prospective businesses moving or building in the area.
Absolutely.
George, from a web perspective, I see this Prince William County. It's very clear to me. I see the seal. I get it. It's a government website. When I click on this, I get it. Oh my God! I'm going to go. Where am I going? Am I going somewhere out?
But we have to do that.
Why is that? Because then you take me and I see PricewaterhouseCoopers is where technologies converge. Okay?
Okay.
I don't feel. I don't get it. I don't. Where's there's a disconnect.
To have the type of services and things that we have on that website, we had to be apart from the county's IT structure. That's the reason for this. We are not in the county IT structure like all the other departments are. Ours is a little different in that respect. And to do what we have on there, that's why we had to go about it that way.
It could still contain the same look and feel that would make it. For example, just the Prince William County.
Put the seal, Prince William County seal right on that site.
No, we have our own.
Oh, I know you have.
We have our own logo, and that's what we're going to use.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a story.
No.
I wrote that story that you have your own.
Yes, you did.
But what
I'm
does
glad you
that
did.
really matter, though? If you're a business or a startup and you're looking for information, I put no relevance in it being part of the county.
But there is something to the fact that there's a continuity to it that people would expect, and they look at it and they say, oh my God, this is
It provides
different.
a
I do understand that,
legitimacy.
yeah.
And I would feel more comfortable talking to you, I mean, obviously, because I know you, but
Sure.
if I know exactly who you are just before you pick up the phone. And there's some disconnect between the logos and the look and feel of the website.
There
it's
is.
not under the
Well,
header.
when we do this, it's not going to look anything like this or like the county website for the purposes of who our audience is. Every website in the county, by and large, their market is citizens of Prince William County. Ours is double. It has a different perspective. It is the businesses in Prince William County, it is the citizens in Prince William County, and it is the businesses that are outside of Prince William County we're trying to get to take interest in what we do. We're the only ones like that in that respect, and that makes the way we look at things, the way we develop things, much different. If you take what Bill Vaughn does on the finance page, he does a tremendously beneficial analysis every month on what's going on in the county, demographic and all that. It's strictly county information, and it should be because of what they're trying to convey. You do a radius of ours, and you're right on the border, you're going to get more than Prince William County because there is more for companies looking at the area or doing a market study or whatever else. That's information that's valuable to them to know not only what's right on the border within Prince William County, what's up in Maryland too for us. And that's a different mindset. Yes?
Why is there never any information about Prince William County and Virginia Business Magazine? I go through the whole thing and I just don't see it. Am I missing it or?
Well, those are ads.
No, I mean like it'll go through, it'll say the Northern Virginia area and it'll talk about Loudon and it'll talk
Sure.
about.
I do not know. I'm not in that part of it. Couldn't tell you. Yes?
I mean, I think the problem that I'm seeing on your website is I don't know where to go. And
Sure.
the thing, when you're doing a website, you actually have to tell, and I think Vincent can talk about this, but you actually have to tell people exactly where to go. And,
Sure.
one of the best techniques I've seen is start here. Like there's a button that says
Mhm.
start here. And then maybe you go to the 10 resources that you need to see. If you're also trying to attract, small businesses or businesses in Prince William County, then I would hold events for businesses in Prince William County. It doesn't have to be an in-person event. Maybe it's a webinar, maybe it's, a tweet chat because you're already on Twitter,
Mhm.
where you start doing things with small business owners. And then that way, throughout the event, you can publicize, hey, if you're trying to do market research, this is a great tool for you to use because you do have resources there. And then maybe have a slider that has a resource page or something. Because right now, if I looked at this right now without you here, I wouldn't even know where to start.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, I would just see a lot of
Yeah,
text.
absolutely.
So, I mean, I think when I'm doing social media or when when I used to do web design, I would always tell the person exactly where to go and then have a place for them to go next.
Mhm.
And if you continue to do that, I think that'll be significantly easier because I think you do have some great resources. But then maybe also do some SEO or something like that to drive traffic to the website. I think SEO probably in this instance, SEO might help you get some of the businesses that you're looking for.
Mhm.
If somebody's like, I'm just starting out, I don't think they're going to say Prince William County because I don't think you narrow down
No,
your
they
focus
don't.
too quickly, but you're going to say starting out in Northern Virginia, that would be a great, term for you to use
Mhm.
or optimize for.
Are you allowed to break down the demographics? We were walking in the sidewalk, and this is something I would ask in the Mason Enterprise Center to try to work with the county and the cities to find. In this organization, as well as the Flory and, the chamber and everything else, we can't find that home-based person or that startup. We've got like 80 or 90 people on our
Right.
meetup group now, but they're finding us. We can't find them.
Sure.
We can't market to them, unless we do, a big advertising campaign. Are you allowed to sort of, when you get, let's say, 1,000 or 500 people do a business license in March,
Mhm.
brand new business license in Prince William County, do you guys get that information And do they have their emails that where you can immediately send in, hey, congratulations, here's a resource with links, you know, and here are some of the other organizations out there that you should be aware of if you're starting a business?
I do not know. I can tell you though, one of the papers publishes something that when you go through it, it tells you all the new business listings, and it does it for all the counties in Northern Virginia. I do not know if we can do that or not.
I get that list monthly
Yeah.
from Prince William County, but it's not public on the website.
Well, no, what I'm talking about is if you're really trying to promote this information and you're trying to help these businesses to be a success, you know, and your challenge is how do we get them information? Well, it's email.
That's a good question. I do not know.
Well,
I think part of the challenge, and maybe the resources, is what you say. I mean, perception is economic development has always been to me until more recently that, oh, we're going out and trying to bring these big companies
Absolutely.
to set up and generate more tax dollars, and I appreciate that mission. I didn't know so much was available to businesses existing and what your position was, and you've been very helpful to me personally for some of the questions I had navigating some of the intricacies of county government. And I try not to shoot the messenger because the news wasn't always
No,
good.
you do not.
Yeah, and I sometimes come across that way perhaps, but I think that's part of the challenge as well, is there's this perception of economic development isn't maybe interested in what's already here as much as they are as bringing new stuff in, and understandably so. I mean,
and that's probably a 5 or 10-year-old concern, and I think that making changes to adjust to that.
I want to piggyback on what Cindy brought up about Virginia Business Magazine. Do you think there's enough interest from the press, whether it's the Washington Post, the Business Journal, or what have you, that wants to work with your office, or does your office work with the press to get stories out?
I've asked several times to do stories on the Florida Small Business Center. They say, we do not want publicity. We get
Well,
enough people."
I can't comment on what the Florida Center wants. Okay, they run their organization the way they want to. We contract with them. From our perspective, we are getting to that stage. Unfortunately, the things that we have been putting out, and if you go to our website under press releases, you'll see several announcements that are on there. Nobody picks it up. Now, that tells me that the interest in that type of activity or the way that we're doing it prior to our new communication manager coming on may make a difference. But it also tells me that when you're going through this, we have to find, number one, it's not going to happen tomorrow. And number two, you have to find businesses that are willing to work with you in that respect, because what it means is what makes, why do I want a story? What makes you so different? Why do I want to do one on you? And do you have the time to help us do that story? Okay? Because we can't do it ourselves, and we can't do it for you. We can do it with you. And that's the biggest challenge I think we have. Is that fair enough?
Yeah.
What about business bloggers?
I'm sorry, I can't,
Business bloggers?
I don't even know any of those who
I
are,
mean, there's a lot of small business bloggers.
okay.
I mean, I would go there. There's always, I mean, that's when I'm doing research on something, I don't go to the traditional news sources. I go to a blog first, nine times out of 10. And I think if you're trying to do a PR pitch, I mean, as a blogger, I don't read 95%
Sure.
of the PR stuff. But if you just say, hey, here's a resource, I think you might be interested, then I'm going to definitely look at it, and then maybe that might drive traffic, but you do have to narrow it down to maybe business bloggers in Northern Virginia, the Northern Virginia area. And I think they could probably come up with a list of that.
I was about to say, this is the same thing you have with the county registration. I know y'all laugh. I would not know where to begin to find the business bloggers in this area. I would have no clue how to do that. I mean, that's what I mean. It sounds funny to you, but the same challenge you have, we're trying to figure out where are these home-based businesses? Well, it's a really great question. They're coming to you, and that says a lot about what y'all are trying to do. How do you get to them? The business bloggers, the same thing. I would not know a single one.
Yeah.
The whole DC area is kind of getting to become like a little startup hub. And
Yes, it is.
Has Prince William County and your organization ever thought of promoting Prince William County as a startup-friendly environment? Looking to maybe rent or lease office space, a dead office space, renovating an office space, and then promoting that via the Washington Post, all these business bloggers, and then Enterprise Resource, George Mason.
We do that right now with the accelerator in the Innovation Center. It is dedicated mainly to wet lab space. There is some subsidy to that, but it's not for everybody.
Okay.
You've got to be a pharmaceutical or a something in the biotech business for that. What you're asking is, would we be willing to do space in general for businesses and subsidize that?
Yeah.
I tend to think the answer would be no at this stage.
I have space, I got plenty of space.
Why would that be though? Because
We don't have-
76 in DC.
We do not have the money to do those things. Our budget next year is the same that it was this year, all right? And that's fine, that's going to do what we need it to because we're fully staffed. But when you're talking about new initiatives and new things like that, which will be costly and will require oversight, I do not think that at this stage, that's where this county is. Plus the fact it would be beneficial for us, incumbent on us, and I know I'm going to get, this isn't going to go over very well. Well, I'm not worried about y'all. Go over very well. Yeah.
Breaking the story.
I think it would be beneficial for us to see, can we really say that? There's nothing worse than economic development. If you go look at ads in some of the ED pubs, we've got the best workforce. We've got the most productive workforce. You know what? Who are you to say that? Tell me something that means that. Well, our turnover is 1%. Well, that tells me something. That's good. But in that case, I can't tell you if it is friendly in that respect. I would like to know that before we get into saying stuff like that. That's just because I was steeped in research when I started this business.
But
Yeah.
to work backwards, I mean, you put these guys in your PowerPoint. Are you linked up with them in a way in which they can promote your services when they have clients come into them and say, hey, if you go to the PwC website, you can find all that demographic information?
No, we are not. They know about us. They don't know what we do.
So if these guys are doing what you said, then maybe the answer is to make sure that you guys are ingrained and really connected, because if they're getting the people through the door, and they need to know about your resource from that point.
But you also, to take a step back and defend, when you talk about a private venture incubator facility, the relationship is completely different.
Yes, it is.
9 times out of 10, there's equity given up.
Right.
I'll come into your incubator facility, I give up 5 or 10% to the facility, and then they bring in all the teams and the resources, and then when I start making money, they're going to get residual forever. I'm out the door doing this, and they bring in the next one. So that is an investment model from those incubators versus a goodwill concept of trying to grow through incubators. So you got to understand the relationship of that.
And let's be clear, a lot of,
And I'm not saying they are, I don't know
And-
them, but most.
this is not a reflection on anybody else out there, but I take this back when I started in the late 80s, in the mid 80s in economic development. Cray Research, Cray I think it was, used to do, I think it was Cray, did incubators all across the country. And what it wound up being really was a real estate transaction. So when you talk about an incubator, the issue is, okay, you got the space, it's reduced. What else do you have that helps these businesses grow? And that's where you get into the issue of an incubator versus a subsidized lease thing. And that is where what it takes to do that and what the requirements are to help businesses in that respect are more than I think people really realize or understand. Yes?
I mean, I think, can we go back to the website?
No, let's not.
I mean, here's the thing, you got to send a plan, right? I mean, that's the biggest thing that I've learned, is that you got to send a plan. If you want home-based business owners, you got to have something on there that attracts home-based business owners. I'm looking at it, it doesn't say anything about home-based. If you want small, marketing 101. Yeah, if you want small, you have to create a space for it. Maybe you feature home-based business owners that will, feature of the week or whatever. Then that as a home-based business owner, I'm going to come to you because I want to see some of the resources. I want to see how I get my name in there, and maybe you hold like a contest or something. I don't know what you do, but essentially, right now you have to what I would say is when you're doing that redesign, think about setting up some flares so that you can attract those people. Maybe you start talking about home-based business owners on your Twitter. Maybe you have a home-based business chat, or you have a small business chat. And then you bring those people in and say, okay, I would actually ask them, what do you need? Because if you ask them, they'll help you to redesign their website, and then they're going to attract like-minded people.
You can actually connect with your neighborhood services, which is with the homeowners association and has neighborhood leader groups and feeds into their newsletters, and just connect like that to direct them to that.
But I guess I'm going to go back to the type of story that you want to tell, because when I look at this image, the story this tells me is, hey, you know, the big boys are up in DC and they fly in from Dulles, but you can get to them really quickly,
Yes.
okay, by using these roads, these spaghetti roads.
Well,
That's the story that tells
I mean,
me.
I think you gotta look at the mission of economic development.
Wait. I want to, because it's a really good question.
Okay.
When I go, there's a organization called IAMC that's Corporate Real Estate Executives that I've been going to for years, and they let me go to it. I have to put a map on the back of our card because people are not familiar where we are. So you have to educate them like that. That's the purpose of that. And that's the first thing that we run into is, whereas, and ordinarily it's, oh yeah, you're in Maryland. No, we're the other Prince. Right? That's the reason for doing that. I know when we change this, that's going to be an issue that we look at, but it is, we do not have, with the people that I work with and I go to, and these are corporate real estate executives that are all over the country at IMC, they're not quite familiar with where we are. And so you have to, if you don't get them quick, you lose them.
George,
Yes.
I think the comments that are made are very good. I think
Absolutely.
you could simplify this a lot quicker. 12 years ago, when I was laid off from my employer on a Saturday, Monday, the first thing that I did when I decided I was going to go into business is I'm in Manassas City, that's where I live, and I went into the courthouse, wherever I was supposed to go, after a couple phone calls figuring that out. And I had to sign up, register, whatever I had to do. I
Be
remember
pulling
that
out, yeah,
process.
all around.
I've been in business now for 12 years, and everything that you mentioned, God, I wish I would have done one of those things. I haven't done a single thing. I didn't, I've heard about the Flory Center, and I've heard about your thing, but I just bootstrapped and just force things to happen. But that's a hard way to do it.
Yes, it is.
But the positive note is, $17 million in revenue later, I'm still in business.
Right.
I succeeded, and any business could do so. If I could have done it, anyone could do it. But it would start at somewhere very basic where everyone would go, and it wouldn't be something simple like a sheet of paper with a little link. It's got to be very, like the young lady back here is explaining with the website, but it's got to be very clear, like idiot proof, because at that point, even still now, it's got to be really clear that this is what you want to do, just to make life simple, because as a business owner that's been in business for a little while, it's not really hard. It's just there's so much stuff you have to do that has nothing to do with your business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the question of, are we really? Do we require you to fill out too many forms? And the one thing that I'll tell you that I fought, and I had this problem in Kentucky when I was there, why can't you make the PDF savable?
Oh, right.
Why is that so hard?
Do it all at once.
Because you've got to send it to your accountant. Well, now they've got to put all that, or handwrite it, or whatever it is, and something as simple as that.
Yeah.
Now we're getting better, but you look at that and you think these businesses or you guys are sending this stuff to whomever it is for a service provider, and you can't save it.
Yeah.
I prefer they did it in Word instead of messing with that. You had something. You raised your hand.
I know.
You have something too, right?
I was going to ask about the incubators. There's just the one in eastern Prince William County.
That's all I know of, yes.
No, there's more than that. The
Well,
basic- well,
here, are you talking here or in general?
Well, and local. Yeah.
Local?
Prince William County.
well, the Mason Enterprise Center is an incubator accelerator program as well.
Yes, that's true.
They have offices that you can rent. You can rent cubicles. You could do it full-time on a monthly basis, or you can do it on a part-time. There's a lot of virtual clients, home-based businesses that, want to use the conference rooms, and, they can even answer your phone for you if you receive the mail. But the one thing about the Mason Enterprise Center too, and I don't work for them, I was an